We're here at the Luray Valley Museum. This is another portion of the Luray Caverns. This does also come included with your ticket into the caverns. We're gonna go check it out.
So we're gonna give you a little shot of this engine right here, and then we're gonna go on inside. So kind of cool when you think how far we've come with engines and technology and stuff. I figured this thing probably, I don't know how much power it had, but it probably wasn't a whole lot. And there's a lot of iron there to make that happen. Let's wander on inside and see what this is all about.
One of the activities that they offer here during the summer months is gem mining. So you can buy a bag of guaranteed gemstones and stuff, and you come out here in this little sluice area and you can wash all of your mining tailings in it and find gemstones and rocks and stuff. I'm guessing that's a pretty popular attraction with the kids during the summer months.
Pretty cool, some old technology. I'm not even sure I know what half of the stuff is, but I know that's a washer and dryer over there. Got the wringer washer. Well, not really a dryer, but press over there, I'm guessing, for making the brooms, because it's got a broom in it. A lot of cool stuff. Again, like I mentioned, it's amazing how technology has changed how we do things in such a less equipment, easier way. I don't know how, maybe not better necessarily, but there's a lot to be said for.
We have it pretty easy these days, I think is what he's trying to say.
We do, yeah, we do.
Certainly it took much more effort to make and produce anything back before we had all the technology available to us that we do today.
And think about the amount of effort and material it took to build something like that. So it looks like this may have been used to actually power the sun. The drive up there, and actually if you look at it, you'll notice that there is no drive on any of the wheels. The wheels are just there for transport. So yeah, that would have been, from what it says on the label, that would have been to power their up and down sawmill.
I think we're definitely finding that there's a lot of appeal in doing these attractions this time of year when there's a lot less people. It seems like for the most part we can still do everything that we want to do, and it allows us a lot more freedom to wander around and do things at our own pace. And we're really enjoying the tourist attractions without all the tourists.
So this is the blacksmith shop built out of chestnut logs on the outside. Can imagine many people spent many a day in there pounding out, well, these exact things right here. These type of hinges.
There's some pretty neat hardware up there. You can see some twisted iron.
Yeah.
There's a little heart in that one. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you look at the hardware here on the door. I think that was all probably pounded out right in that blacksmith shop.
Sign up front says, teacher says no smoking. Definitely a different era.
Pretty cool old building.
They have lots of grapevines on site here. This area is actually a little bit of a wine region. There's several wineries in the area, so if that's something that interests you, certainly something to check out. When we were at the Shenandoah Caverns, they did have a number of wines from the local wineries. We did not actually try any of them yet, but we might get a bottle or two while we're here. This is the church. Quite a lot larger than the schoolhouse.
Kind of neat to look at the walls in there because they have the two horizontal boards and like a plaster over it. Now here is the actual timber frame of the building infilled with brick. Some different construction techniques. One of the houses dating from like 1835, and this is built out of yellow pine logs. A lot of chinking in between the logs.
Those were some great big beams, or logs I guess, for building the walls of this house.
Can imagine many a evening spent around that fireplace. Or around this one.
This is another area where they had Civil War battles. We took you to the Civil War Museum that was right up the road as well. But this whole area is very steeped in Civil War history.
So this building used to be located 3 miles away, and they moved it here. It was purchased for $10 in 2008 by Shenandoah Heritage Village, place we're at. It was painstakingly documented, taken apart, and moved here. You can see, put it back together piece by piece. A lot of work put into it to keep it from being destroyed because it was slated for destruction. Probably to make room for something else on a piece of property, as so many old buildings end up getting going by the wayside because of that. Unfortunately, today's world, most people don't want an old building. It's hard to maintain, hard to keep up, and they just want something new, and stuff like this just gets burnt, bulldozed, and hauled to the landfill on a daily basis all around the country. So it's kind of cool to see some of it preserved.
You gotta go that way. This is not the way to go.
Oh, we can't go that way, according to Sue. We have to go this way. See, this is why you guys shouldn't follow me.
That's just the accessible route.
So we'll wander back down over here and check out what these buildings are. venture a guess. This was probably a chicken coop in its day. But we'll see.
Tractors. I bet what the people of this farm wouldn't have given for that tractor. So this is another house, much smaller, with its kitchen and dining room table, living room, and presumably the bedrooms are upstairs.
Today's tiny house. Yeah.
Again, we think we're so inventive with these things, tiny houses and electric cars. Turns out a lot of people had these ideas way before we did.
Yeah. Well, you built what you could build in the time you had to build it before it got cold out, what you could afford to build, what you could find materials to build it with. A lot of the older houses, my mother's house in town, for example, you can see where they like dug the basement out by hand. Probably used ox and stuff to pull rocks in, big rocks in for the foundation. And then there's like 4 different additions on it. So you can kind of maybe think that possibly a family landed there and said, hey, we have to get this up and closed in and a fireplace in before it starts snowing here in Maine. And they did that sort of that core building, and they expanded as they went.
And actually, when we redid some of the stairs going into the basement last year, we found square handmade nails in the steps.
Yep, still on the original basement steps, which are still fine, by the way. The boards are still fine. Things are just a little loose, and my mother, being older and bad balance and a broken hip, refused to not go down in the basement. So we said, we're gonna go ahead and put new boards on. We're gonna screw everything together real tight so that there's no trip hazards. So those steps probably would have lasted another 50 years. But I did go over and look at this building. There is no entrance to this building. So my speculation is, because it's open on the bottom, that it is some form of chicken coop. But I think that's about it for the this tour. We're headed back out where we just came from. We've seen all the buildings. We'll probably take a wander through the gift shop, but we really appreciate you guys coming along with us for our little adventures here in Virginia. So any questions, anything you can, any suggestions, like if you know what that building is, go ahead and leave it down in the comments. You know, I'm curious. I just envision like a chicken coop because they can go up in it, but I don't know. So, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe.